Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the All Four Downs. This is the college football program here, and big shout out to Joe Aguirre. And I wish you the base safe recovery, and I can't wait till you're coming back to our show. You are truly missed, my
Definitely.
brother. Yes,
Speedy
uh,
recoveries, baby.
yes, indeed. And listen, we'll dedicate this because to you, Joe. So if you're listening, I know that you are such a big fan of the Georgia Bulldogs, and I really mean it. You know, I really mean it. Even though your Crimson Tides couldn't make it to the Final Four, and I know gradually when we started this show, he was driven by the way Alabama is playing and everything else. So he was like, you know what? I'm an Alabama fan, and I tell him, you know what? I'm a Georgia fan, and now you're a Georgia fan. Yeah, yeah. He's probably be like, no, but anyways. Um, but there's four teams now left in the college football playoffs, and they got it narrowed it down last Tuesday. We're gonna get talk about that and the Heisman winner. Ooh, the Heisman finalists. We're gonna discuss who should be the winner. Okay. And more to it. We're gonna short and simple because next week's episode, we're going to be talking about all the bowl games, and I want you to invite you all to the Bowl Mania Challenge. That's right, and I can't wait to share all that with you, because we're giving out prizes, man. We are, we definitely will, and so hey, stay tuned to that. But
I'll
the
be ready to
Final
collect.
Four, yeah, collect. You know what? This ain't the NFL, man. You're now in my home court right now. All right. So let's talk about the Final Four. As predicted, I had Georgia and Michigan the top two, and TCU number three, and Ohio State number four. Um, Look, there's nothing uh to argue about really because of the fact that TCU only got one loss. Ohio State lost to Michigan, and this is going to be pretty interesting because the way I have it is that the Georgia Bulldogs will have to go through the Big Ten to become the national champions. And that is my prediction. Um, and again, the committee got it right, at least in my opinion. What do you think?
I've always been hard on the committee, for the way they do things and the lack of things they do. But I can honestly say they got this right, and there's no arguing there. I'm glad they got it exactly in the order that I expected it to be as a fan of the game.
Mhm.
So I give them kudos to that. Now, their thought process may be different than my thought process, but at the end of the day, I'd say they did get it
Nobody has your thought process, brother. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
right.
Nobody. But I remember you and I were talking about how you would not watch football because of Alabama. All right. Explain to me why you wouldn't want to watch Alabama in the Final Four.
If they would have, if they would have put, if they would have really jumped Alabama into the Final Four with the two losses over a team like Ohio State, which I don't like, but I respect that, or TCU, then that right there tells me that I don't care what body of work you're looking at. You just favoring Alabama. You're looking for ratings. You're looking for whatever the case may be to stick Alabama in there to try to prove to the world that they're the best team in college football. And I'm sorry, they're not this year. I'm sorry, that's not the case. And I'm glad they did not do that. Now, when it gets to the 12th team, that's a whole different story. But right now, as a four, I'm glad that it's going to stay that way, that no two loss team has ever been part of it. And it shouldn't be, unless everybody lost. But that's not the case. So,
No, that's not the
done.
case either. But
Done.
you know that next year when they hit the 12 teams, there's going to be more arguments as to wow, I finished 13, but I deserve to be in there. I will
Yeah.
tell you right now is that Tennessee should have finished ahead of Alabama because Tennessee beat Alabama this year. And if you look at the standings, Tennessee is higher than Alabama, even though they're tied. Okay. But head to head, they got it. And yes, Hendon Hooker is not playing. He was out for the season and stuff like that. But that doesn't discredit the rest of the players of Tennessee because it's a team effort. right?
Yeah.
And the when they lost Hendon Hooker, the following week they went ahead and went against Vanderbilt and they shut them out 56-0.
Yeah.
And yet no respect is given to the Tennessee Vols. So to me, you're right. Alabama did not deserve it, and that's probably one of the reasons why they said no. Okay, but TCU got lucky. TCU got lucky because the game went to overtime, and I am convinced that if TCU would have lost without going to overtime, they would have probably give a great reason why to squeeze in Alabama, even though Tennessee should have been in there. I'm just saying. The
Mm.
referees, I don't know. I watched the game, and there were scenarios where Kansas State could have won, and there was one play where the defender knocked the ball off the quarterback's hand. The ball went to the end zone. It was recovered by even though by their own by TCU, but that it should have been a safety call, which was never
Yeah.
called, and it said it was an incomplete pass. And then right there, I was like, all right, man, you guys are just wanting TCU to win this game. And then the game went into overtime. You know, Max Duggan, I gotta give him credit. He's done an outstanding job. And I wish that he would have been a Heisman winner, to be honest with you. I wish he was a finalist. I wish because dude, that dude played with heart. And he is the
Yeah.
definition of a Heisman.
Yeah. No, definitely. I mean, when I watched that game, it was like, this right here was like his Super Bowl for some reason.
Mhm.
Now I don't know if it's because Kansas State actually played much better the second time around from the first time they played TCU early this year,
No, it
but
was almost similar though.
yeah,
It was similar
yeah,
because they did go to overtime.
but I just think that Duggan knew that, hey, I got to try to get over this hump and really show the people that we can be the best team in the Big 12. But K-State had something else planned for that. And you're right. I think they did try to find a reason, and TCU did not give them a reason to try to put an Alabama team in there. So I'm glad that didn't happen because
I'm
US
glad I'm glad
because you
that Michigan won over Ohio State when it needed to because I again throughout the whole season. Look, at first, I did have Michigan on top. I had a little flip flop in the first half of the season, and then I kind of stuck it out with Michigan being number two. I had Georgia and Michigan hasn't changed for the last month and a half in my rankings, and for those that were paying attention to my top 25, and I kept saying Michigan's number two.
yeah.
I got a lot of backlash about it because they were like, "No, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know college football." Well, look at
Well,
here now.
2 years in a row, 2 years running. Michigan has
Hey,
proven that they're the better team than Ohio State.
I said it last year and I said it this year. I said, you guys putting Ohio State and Alabama on top. And look, Ohio State just got lucky to be at number 4. Okay. But because if USC would have won, we wouldn't be talking about Ohio State. All right. But
Exactly.
hey, we'll talk about the Heisman later and everything else. But I'd like to talk about this scenario right here because coming here on December 31st is the semifinals. Georgia plays Ohio State, Michigan versus TCU. The winner between those two games, of course, are going to the national championship. And I'm going to announce my prediction as to what's going to happen. And again, the road for Georgia is to beat the Big Ten to become national champions. And that is my prediction. I feel like saying it like Paul Heyman in the WWE is not a prediction. It is a spoiler alert because this game, I'm sorry, none of these three teams really got what it takes to beat Georgia, especially that elite defense that they have.
No, I agree. I mean, I've been able to catch a lot of these games this year, with all four of these teams individually, and I don't see where Ohio State can actually stack up against Georgia defensively, offensively. I really
Mm-hmm.
don't. I mean, like you said, if it wasn't for USC, we won't even be talking about Ohio State. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
they just got in by the luck of the draw here. So, there may be one half that they may hang in there, but I think at the end of the day, Georgia's is the better team than Ohio State, and they have been.
Well, they're giving Georgia right now 6.5 point favorites. Okay. And I think that that is too little. I think they should have extended it even more. And we've seen that Ohio State cannot hang in the fourth quarter. And to me, I think Georgia got a better defense than Michigan, right? And don't get me wrong, they got a better offense than Michigan. And and if it turns out this is one of those that, again, if you pay attention a couple of weeks ago, what I said about Ohio State and Ryan Day is that when it comes to a big event, when it comes to a big game like this, they don't go through. And so, yeah, and I know a lot of Ohio State fans are excited. Hey, we made it to the Final Four. Yay. But you lost the Big Ten championship. And no, we're not going to see a repeat of Michigan versus Ohio State in the finals. It's just not going to happen. And if it does, I'll replay what I'm saying right now. But I'm right. So I'm going to replay it anyway. Then I'm going to say that Georgia will beat Ohio State. And it's had happened because the last time and the only time Georgia and Ohio State played was in 1993.
The Citrus
1993.
Bowl. The Citrus Bowl. That's crazy.
Yeah, the Florida Citrus Bowl in Orlando, Florida. And Georgia won 21-14. 7 points. Okay. 7-point game. Now, are these people predicting because of that game is going to be, that's why it's 6.5? I don't know, but I'm thinking Georgia's going to win by 17 points over Ohio State. That's just my opinion. You know, you could bet on me. We could do this. I'll set it up and we could gamble. All right. But I strongly believe that the Georgia Bulldogs will win in the fourth quarter, run it away, and beat them by 17 or more. That's just me.
Wow.
On the other side, Michigan versus TCU is going to be their very first meeting in history. And I like games like this. They've never battled with each other. You got the Big Ten champion and you got the alternate Big 12, right?
Yeah.
What they call it, at large. They call them at large, but they were voted in by the committee as being the third best team in college football. And definitely TCU, got to give them my respect because they do play hard. Many of their games is coming. What is it? A comeback? They came from behind to win.
A lot of comeback games. Yeah, I mean, a lot of those comeback games.
I just don't see it against Michigan, though.
No, I think if Michigan can control the ball, I don't see this being a close game. I think Ohio State would keep it closer with Georgia than what TCU with Michigan. Honestly,
really,
I don't see how I think I'm just saying because one of these games is going to be a close game. The other one's going to be a blowout. And honestly, I think this Michigan game is going to be over by halftime. Honestly, that's why I just see it. I think Duggan just. I don't know.
Usually that happens though. You got 2 blowouts, and then when it comes to the national championship, you actually get a good game.
Yeah, right? We seen that last year with Georgia, right? Boy, they had to fight their way with Alabama.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. But they had to go through Michigan.
And they walked right through them. 34-11. It's like they just Michigan who? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The Bulldogs just literally walked right by them with no problem.
So this is my prediction here. Georgia versus Michigan. Now, there's no point spread on this one. We won't find out the official spread if it was boiled down to this, right, until the games are over. But if I was a betting man, I'll be safe to say that I'm going for Georgia at 12.5 points.
Yeah, I could see almost a repeat of what last year is happening again this year. Seriously. I think Georgia can outcoach them, outplay them, outrun the ball, everything, around. So all around, Georgia Bulldogs to me will win this all.
Georgia has won. Go ahead.
And to have to beat 2 Big Ten teams to do it, that'd be something else. So
the first time these 2 teams met was October 5th of 1957 in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and Michigan won 26-0. Okay. Fast forward to 1965 and October 2nd, the Georgia evened it out. They won 15-7. Now we're talking about last year on New Year's Eve. in Miami Gardens, Florida, and Georgia defeated them 34-11. Okay.
That was just that
I
was to
can see a
me.
similarity on this one.
I mean, everything that Michigan worked up to that point went down the toilet because they didn't even show up with that game.
But imagine if Harbaugh found a way to get through Kirby Smart. I mean, look how much that Harbaugh had to do to get by Ohio State. Maybe because he needed Urban Myers to get out the way,
Yeah.
so that way he could beat Ohio State. Because that seems like that was the answer. But imagine that Harbaugh, get a second chance. I like his odds. I like the odds, but being that I'm a Bulldog fan, I'm just gonna root for Georgia and the points. So I might even adjust it if they make it to like a 6 or 7 point spread. I might adjust it to 12.5 to get more money. You could do that.
All right. Well,
So
let's do it then.
yes, good. That's right. And my prediction: the Georgia Bulldogs will become national champions and be back-to-back champs.
Like we haven't seen that one before, with Alabama.
Well, I mean, not just matter. The last team to do it was Clemson. So,
Now, what is crazy is since this college football playoff has started, I think it was in 2015. Okay.
The format, right?
Right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Believe it or not, the only combination that we have not seen was the number 3 versus the number 4. Okay. We've seen 1 versus 4. We've seen 2 versus 3. 1 versus 3 or something like that. 2 versus 3, I mean, but we never seen the 3 versus 4. So what if out of nowhere Ohio State was to play TCU?
That's not going to happen.
I'm just saying.
Well, I'm just saying it's not going to happen. You want to bet on Ohio State versus TCU in the finals? Go right ahead, but that's definitely not going to happen.
I mean, I'm just saying that it has been before that the number 1 team has not been there. I think it was 3 different occasions. So it is possible. I know you're a Bulldog fan, but I'm just saying.
Possible, but no. I mean, Georgia and Michigan got too much. And you've seen how already Michigan defeated Ohio State, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then again, anything can happen. Okay. Yeah. All this is prediction, but I'm looking at this right now. This is in favor of Georgia winning it all. Kirby Smart, which got the elite players, man. They really do. And you got to say, get big props. But I do see Georgia and Michigan head to head for the national championship. It's going to be interesting. All right. It will be.
Yeah, at least we won't be seeing an Alabama again. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this is what the first time in a lot of 3 years since we haven't not seen Alabama in there. So
absolutely,
because it was LSU and Clemson, I believe it was.
Speaking about the national championship, the Heisman is on its way. And that's the first. Matter of fact, I think it's this upcoming week coming up, right?
This weekend, yeah, I believe so. Yeah,
right, this weekend. So it's pretty interesting. The final 4 that are in there. The most favorite one is Caleb Williams from USC. Caleb Williams, phenomenal. Okay. But man, I would just wish that he had won that last game to win the Pac-12 championship. And yes, I know he was hurt, but Max Duggan was hurt. And he stuck it out, even though he lost 2, right? You got who else? Stetson Bennett, excuse me.
Yep.
Right? From Georgia. He's in the run. Then who else we got? CJ Stroud.
CJ Stroud, yeah.
Right. And is Bryce Young still in there? I believe so. Yeah, I think so. Let me see.
I mean, you need that 5th person, I guess, eh?
No, there's no 5th person. Did I get it wrong?
No, there's only 4. I know there's 4 going.
A Heisman finalist.
Yeah, we already mentioned the 4.
So I was right with Bryce Young being in it.
No, that makes it 5.
No, I said Caleb Williams, CJ Stroud. I'm sorry. Yeah, Max Duggan and Stetson Bennett. Bryce Young is not there, even though he won it last year. but he kind of blew it himself, man. And it showed versus Texas how,
Yeah.
like, yeah, he's able to move the ball, but they weren't scoring or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But out of those four, who you think is going to win?
I I'm not a USC fan, but I like Caleb Williams. I think he solidified that against my team Notre Dame when they played him earlier this year. I mean, his only loss this year is to a Utah team twice. He done beat everybody else on the schedule this year. So um, he's doing good. I think he's got like a 64% completion this year. I mean, he's to me, he's doing good. I thought maybe 65, something like that. He's up there pretty well, So he's had a great season, I think, this year. And um, USC just fell short against a Utah team who has their number. But other than that, I'm not going to fault him for anything else. I mean, to me, he's the man right now.
Right. I feel you. Caleb Williams, I think he is the favorite to win it. He should be the top dog, even though it took him middle of the season. I mean, he to me, I mean, throwing for over 4,000 yards,
Yeah.
37 touchdowns,
Only what,
probably has
four
the minimum,
interceptions?
right? Something like that. But he
Yeah.
also was rushing. And as you can see during the
Yes.
Pac-12 championship in the first half, he was running until he got hurt. But he has over
Yeah.
300 yards of rushing, 10 touchdowns. He is a true sophomore. Being the first season with USC, remember he is a transfer
Yeah,
from
from Oklahoma.
Oklahoma, but so
Yep.
did the head coach Lincoln Riley. And it seems like Lincoln Riley knows how to coach these quarterbacks to win those Heisman's, because he also had Murray from the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah.
He was
Kyler
one.
Murray. Yep.
Baker
Ed
Mayfield was
Baker.
another
Yep.
one,
Yep.
right? Under Lincoln Riley. So I think this guy's going to be number 3. I know Bryce Young was one of the finalists. I mean, not Bryce Young, excuse me. Jalen Hurts from the Philadelphia Eagles. He was one of the finalists, but didn't win. So, like, he knows how to coach these guys to win that Heisman. And
Right.
that's why I say Caleb Williams will be the guy.
Yeah,
Now,
I agree.
who would you choose for second place?
Uh that's kind of tough to say. I would think maybe Stetson.
Hmm.
Maybe. I would, that would be my personal guess. I mean, 'cause look what he's done with Georgia last year, this year. He's got that grit. He knows what he has to take to be that elite quarterback at the collegiate level. So I'll probably put him number 2.
Okay. Um, I would say Max Duggan to be the number 2, and I'll put Stetson Bennett at number 3, and
Mm-hmm.
then CJ Stroud number 4. But
Yeah.
CJ Stroud to me, I don't think he had the same. I thought CJ Stroud was better last year than this year, and I know he was a freshman last year. But what he had done, he had wide receivers. He had Marvin Harrison Jr. that stepped up. Okay, and I think he was better to be considered as a Heisman finalist than CJ Stroud. It almost reminded me of Mac Jones, right? And Devontae Smith ended up winning the Heisman, right? So again, I just feel like the wide receiver core for Ohio State made CJ Stroud look good. If you take those out of the equation, CJ Stroud won't be where he at today. So, but I guess we're both
I
in
think I would have
agreement
had
that
him at number
Caleb
3 for
Williams.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Caleb
Oh
Williams.
man,
Yep.
after you saw that Big 12 championship, you will downgrade Duggan.
I mean, no, I mean, I'm not going to take nothing away from Duggan, but I'm sorry. I just think Stroud was just a little bit better. I get it that
All right.
TCU took his team to the Big 12 championship and Stroud didn't, but
Mhm.
body of work, player for player. That's
Right.
just my opinion.
All right. Well, hey, still to come. Listen, next week, it will be the bold prediction show, and hopefully, I get Joe back on the set, ready to make our picks. Heck, you could join us. You're more than welcome, because next Wednesday, yes. Oh man, I just can't wait. It is the All Four
Yeah.
Downs Bowl Mania. All right. Check it out. Check out our Facebook page. Right. Our Facebook page will have the site. Join in because you have a chance to win some gift cards as the end of the year prize. You don't want to miss it.
See,
So if you're
you
tuning
didn't.
in,
You didn't do it last year because you know I was going to win, and I did win last
what are you
year.
talking about? I won
No,
last year.
no, you did. I won.
Yes, I did.
You was mad at me because I picked Georgia, and you was like, "Oh, you just picking them because I'm picking them."
What are you talking about?
I won last year.
Who's the national champion?
The Georgia Bulldogs.
You see that
Me.
right there? I got my title.
Oh, come on.
Don't make me zip the other one upstairs.
Oh my God.
Ah, yeah, baby.
Can't
I'm the
see
champ. Just say it.
Can't see me.
Yeah, nobody can see you. That's right. Anyways, I'm ready for this battle. I hope you guys are ready too because it's about to go down.
It is.
I'm
Yes,
the champ.
sir.
I'm the
43.
champ. I'm the champ. 43 games,
Yeah, you
43
win.
wins for me.
Yeah, you win about 30. I win about 35.
Man, you're gonna be picking all these teams, and I'll be like, told you not to pick them because their players ain't playing. So pay attention to that.
You better watch out for some of these upsets. I'm just saying, you never know.
You went like this, and you pointed out a shirt that the team got destroyed in the championship game.
But when the bowl games happen, anything is possible.
No, anything is probably absolutely. That wraps up our show. Thank you for listening to All Four Downs podcast. The college football is here. The playoffs is here. And I can't wait to challenge you guys. That's right, for that Bone Mania victory. Yes.
Bring it on,
Got
folks.
this. Prize is mine, baby. Take care, everyone. Gotta love some football.